Hello, welcome back. Good afternoon. I'm Bong Paloma. I'm your moderator for this track. Welcome to the Next Gen CEO Web Conference 2021. You're attending track number 4, The Good Technology. On this track, we have a speaker from Citicore Power Inc., a community-based focused renewable energy company that responsibly harnesses nature's resource to fuel long-term value and empower Filipino communities through innovative renewable energy systems. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome the Chairman and President of Citicore Holdings Inc., Mr. EDGAR Saavedra.
Hello? Bong, can you hear me? It's not working. Huh? I can see myself. Can you see my slides?
Yes, sir.
So you're presenting?
I do present.
Wait, Bong.
Can you see it?
Yeah, sige.
Are you ready? We can see your slide, we can hear you, and we can see you clearly. Thank you.
Okay, so Bong, I guess my presentation. Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before I present the Citicore, the good tech, my first discussion will be I'll just like to present like an introduction. As you know, I'm very much. Everyone knows that I'm from Megawide, so I just give a short background who I am and who is Megawide and how did I involve to Citicore?
Sure. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay, so first, Megawide milestone. No, um, over uh, over 20 years of engineering excellence and infrastructure. Our engineering DNA has enabled us to transform Megawide from a pure construction in 1997 into a fully diversified infrastructure company today. So Megawide started as just a small construction company, and so from a purely construction company, so we went public by 2012, and then we won several infrastructure asset as developer, not only as limit as not as contractor. So these are the Mactan Cebu International Airport. We also developed the Parañaque Integrated Transport Exchange, but we also won some build, finance, and operate transfer of the 10,000 classroom last 2000 around 2012. Well, that was the first public-private partnership, and we also won the Clark International Airport as construction. And right now we are partnering with the Cebu LGU to build and fix their carbon market, their public wet and dry market. So you can see the transformation of Megawide from just purely a construction company and infrastructure construction until we started developing infrastructure asset. Now, Megawide, it has always been our vision that for everything that we do, whether construction or we develop our own, we want to do a first world product, first world output. So that's why our vision is we will be a first world Philippines, because we want to impart as engineers and architects and designers in our company, because we have a lot of engineers, technical people in the organization. So we want to impart our knowledge to the Philippines and help build the nation. We want to develop a lot of local capability, hopefully, so that we can have our own infrastructure capability. So now the next one, the next slide is I just want to show that these are the typical assets that we have. We have the Mactan Cebu International Airport. We have the PITX. So you can see that even Mactan, we won this awards in Amsterdam last 2018. Um, it's like the Oscar of the architecture. What's the name of that, Anna? World Architecture. So we're proud to say that the first Filipino company who used the timber structure, timber meaning we have to import this timber solid structure from Austrian German forest and ship it all the way across um, uh, the globe, no, 180 degrees across the globe, and use that as a timber structure. So, and PITX, we also did the, by the way, this is close to my heart, the 10,000 classroom, 10,000 public school building, and 10,000 classrooms wherein we build and finance across 3,500 sites. So the social impact of this is huge for like hundreds of thousands of Filipino students who will benefit this on year. So we are able to deliver cheaper cost, better product, and we fund it, and we were able to help the Department of Education to lower the backlog back then from 60,000 backlog. We were able to contribute 10,000 classrooms, and it went down to 12,000 classroom backlog in spite of the K-12. Now, why is it mega wide? A lot of people have asked me why mega wide have grown so fast over the others. So I just wanna say, that the reason why mega wide is able to grow faster than the others is because during the time of because we started mega wide 1997, that was the time where it was the financial crisis. So um, a lot of the construction company have shied away in investing, innovating new technology, and investing in bringing foreign experts. But for us, since 2005, 6, even when we were far smaller, we bring in the expats, who are experts, Germans, Japanese, and we brought in a lot of like new technologies, new equipment for us to be able to build faster. And one of the technology that we did is the modular construction. So as you know, in Philippines, building houses or building construction takes so much time, and the workmanship skills level of our fellow Filipinos here are not that high. So there will always be challenges in building if you want to build fast for in any structure, whether be it a house or a building. So we use the modular construction using precast, as you see in the pictures. We even did like this picture is showing that even a toilet pod can be prefabricated, everything in the factory and delivered on site. So and modular construction method enable mass production and good and quality control, and this help us grow the company faster. Now you can see in the pictures that our modern and state-of-the-art precast facility is the second largest in Southeast Asia, and we do not just manufacture walls, floors, and partition, but we also do a lot of application of the building elements. By doing modular construction, we can mass produce building components, keep them in stock, and deliver to project sites when ready to be assembled and built. We are vertically integrated, that we have our own equipment like the formworks, heavy equipment, and logistics, and our own batching plant that we can mobilize in a project site for a more efficient value chain. Now, we also did a different approach, like the timber structure. This slide is showing that Megawide is innovation is not limited to just precast, but even this timber structure, because we found out that this timber structure is suitable in doing arches. So when we did the design for our airport, we found out also that a lot of the sustainability initiatives and carbon footprint savings if you're going to use this timber structure. So I think the what I'm trying to say here is that um, each company, like Megawide as an organization, we always like to innovate. We always like to explore new things in doing things. We want to explore new technology, bring in the experts, and explore new methodologies. So this is one of the examples that we did in Mactan Cebu International Airport, which we won the architectural award in Amsterdam. So now I now go to my next presentation, which is the Citicore. So 2015, um, when uh, when the when the government and started bidding out the fit rate, like by promoting renewable energy in solar, um, we in the team, we were one of the first few players to venture into this kind of business. So we first build 3 plants around 105 megawatts of solar farm. So we started it in 2015. So that was the time where Citicore Power was founded, a purely renewable energy development company. So by 2018, we acquired 5 solar assets. Some of them are with fit rates. So now at that time we became one of the largest. I've been second or third. Okay. Then for Citicore solar energy plants, right now we have 8 plants across the Philippines in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And we are the third largest right now operating capacity. But we hope to be in the second by next year because we're also about to turn over one of the solar farm, hopefully by Q1 next year. This will bring us to the second biggest, around 70 megawatts. And now another innovation what we did in Citicore is we are also developing an um, agro solar model, meaning in the the solar panels, below the solar panels, we plant um, root crops such as ginger, turmeric. So this is one way for our sustainability and social responsibility initiatives. We invite the local farmers and teach them, guide them, educate them to plant the root crops as their alternative sources of income. Then we help them sell them, help them including the selling or to the market. So this is one way for us in able to do our social responsibility part, no. And we not only that, but um, we also include the we are not, meaning we are not displacing, because a lot of the solar farms now, a lot of issues is that solar plants are displacing the agriculture land. So in our case, in Citicore, what we're doing is to have a inclusive strategy, meaning we keep the same agriculture land, we try to put the solar, but probably we just have to change the root crops, but maintain the agricultural land at the same time doing the solar farm. So this is one of the initiative and one of the innovation that what we are doing in Citicore. Now, in terms of the solar energy plants, we have running the solar farm. Since we're one of the first few players, we have over 5 years of track record. We have our own team organically who can operate and maintain the solar plants, all the solar farm, and everything we do it um, remotely. So we have the SCADA, where they call it the supervisory control and data acquisition, where we are able to manage remotely and real time every piece of panel and every piece of spare parts in our solar farm. So including the computerized maintenance management system, so we can track real time which panel is working or not. So this is how we're able to use technology and train our own people to remotely um, operate and maintain the solar plants. Now, Citicore, we are also probably the only end-to-end um, renewable energy company, because we started me as a construction company from Megawide. So in Citicore, we do end-to-end because we do the pre-development, we do from land acquisition, stakeholder management, and construction. We do our own construction, design, we do our engineering, and we do our own construction until it's operation. So we do our own operations. So it's the same strategy. Even in construction, we are fully integrated. In Citicore, we have the same business model. We are fully integrated in terms of the supply chain. So we start from the pre-dev and do our own construction and OEM. I think that's one of the DNA. That's one of the advantage also what we have, because of our technical capabilities, our innovation mindset, and also values. So we also do this in Citicore. So the key takeaways, in summary, it is our engineering DNA that allows us to think differently and challenge how we build things. Complacency on doing things the traditional way pulls us back from creating a first world infrastructure. Investment in good, modern technology enables Citicore to compete in a level playing field against bigger and other competitors. But while good technology is an enabler, we also recognize the need for agile leadership and dynamic people management, so that we are able to seize opportunities presented to us, or those that we create for ourselves in time of crisis. So thank you, and we hope you can share the Citicore's megawide vision and work towards a first world Philippines we all deserve. Bom? Bom?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, thank you, Mr. Saavedra. That was very exciting. A tropical country like the Philippines, we should harness the power of the sun. And I'm happy that from your construction days, you have evolved to become one of the top three solar provider in the country. So we would like to encourage the audience to ask questions if you have any, and Mr. Saavedra would gladly answer them. Whether that question is related to construction or solar, I think Mr. Saavedra would be very happy to answer your questions. Okay, let me start with the first question. You started with construction and now you're into solar. And how is the situation of the solar as a technology in the Philippines? I know that it's gaining adoption, but the support of the government is there. But still, in terms of source or energy supply, we're still primarily fuel fossil based, right? So do you see
Yes.
this changing in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yes, it is, Bong. In fact, there is really a strong push, from the international community. That's why if you look at the direction of the government, no, particularly the Department of Energy, they have plans to bid out around 10,000 megawatts of renewable energy in the next 5 years. So one of their program is to launch to auctions 2,000 megawatts every year. So they have
Wow.
announced that they plan to release this year, hopefully, if they can launch that. So this is why we think it's very excited when it comes to the renewable energy sector. As you know, um, during the pandemic, I think we all realized that the power sector is one of the few essential business where it's not, or it's more resilient not to pandemic. So, and we know that the younger generations, or the direction of the government, is really to produce more cleaner energy. And I think this is the right time for everyone, for the renewable energy players, to start producing so that we can have more cleaner energy than fossil fuel power generation.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That is very encouraging to hear that soon renewable clean energy will eclipse, the fossil fuel um, in the near future. Now, let's see if we have questions from the audience. Meron na ba? Wala pa. So my next question to you, Mr. Saavedra. You have been in construction business. You've built airports. You've built schools. In the near future, do you see this solar technology being integrated into your construction business when you construct the next airport, the next facility? Is that something that you have planned moving forward into the future? Because you already have the engineering capability, and you mentioned about vertical integration, right? So is this something in your mind that you have planned to do in the near future, or maybe you are already doing it?
In fact, Bong, we're already doing it because even in our airport, we also installed the solar panel roof on our roof. So it's being done right now. So it's not in the future; it's being done now.
Okay, that's good to hear. In terms of cost, I know that the cost is dropping, and is this going to drop at the level where every household will, put a solar panel on the roof?
Well, surprisingly, no, you're right. For the last 3-4 years, it has significantly dropped, no, the price. But recently, the prices of solar have gone up also. Why? Because the Chinese government also launched their program, like thousands of gigawatts, not megawatts. So thousands. So we know that uh, the China is experiencing the the
Power
the
shortage.
air pollution, right? The air pollution and the power shortage, and then they're also shifting, their power source from the fossil fuel power to renewable energy. So there is a strong policy from the Chinese government to push for the renewable energy. Because of this, the solar panels prices have gone up.
Okay. Any chance for Philippines to produce its own solar panel? I know, I remember back in the days, there was a company that used to produce a solar panel here. What is happening to that industry?
Oh, I think the challenge really, Bong, is that in Philippines we lack the size, the economy of scale. Unlike in China, you have the economy of scale there. So in their domestic market alone, I mean, you cannot compete the size. I mean, the volume, no. So I guess it's very difficult to compete with the manufacturing in China. But probably for the assembly, you can do the assembly here, but not the real manufacturing of the PV panels.
Okay. One of the issues farmers bring to the table when you start to build solar farms is really you're taking land away from them because it takes so much land to build a solar farm. And tell us more about this agro-solar model that you have pioneered.
Yeah, that's true, Bong. That's why that's the common problem, because when you convert the land to solar, you practically take away or take out the agricultural use, right, of the land and convert it to solar farm, right? But we are able to solve this by combining the two. The two can coexist. So, meaning, in fact, the farmers even, in fact, we were explaining this to the Department of Agriculture, and the secretary even told us he is supporting to an alternative crops for the farmers, because we know we have challenges, right, in planting rice because of our weather, so because of our typhoons, too many
Mhm.
typhoons. So by doing the agro solar and helping the farmers, and we're doing this for free, and then the 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 revenue that we're generating, more than half we give it to the farmers, so it's an additional income to the farmers. So see, we're able to address Bong from just from instead of displacing the agricultural use of the land, now we're combining the two. It's
That's
very
very
inclusive.
that's very good. Let's see if we have question. Okay, we have question here from the audience from Gian Cruz. How's the integrity of the structure in using timber compared to using concrete in construction buildings as seen in the Clark Airport? Is it very aesthetically pleasing?
It's very aesthetically pleasing and also safe structurally, and also more sustainable. Just to give a short background, no? Now, the timber structure, if it's massive, meaning with a certain size, it becomes more fire retardant than the steel.
Hmm.
And why it is so sustainable? This wood that we're using, these are like, in Europe, they have a problem there, like fallen trees. They have excess trees that are not being used, and these are the trees that are being, I mean, the fallen trees being used, not the like the not in like in our case we lag the old trees. So that's why it is very sustainable.
Hmm. Okay. So these are
Unlike in
three.
unlike in steel, no, unlike in steel, you burn thousands, hundreds of thousands of carbon footprints for every ton of fuel every ton of steel you produce. So, and then you have to fabricate it. So if you compare to the wood, we go back to the natural construction, and like just like the old days, like 1000 years ago. That's why you can see a lot of the castle in in Europe
Europe.
being built in timber are still up and standing for more than 1000 years, right?
Well, I have a question on that because I see a lot of construction. Does that apply to like a house, or is there a certain size where you have to use timber to be able to make it sustainable and more cost effective? Because the trend I see here in our neighborhood, most of the constructions that are going on are made of steel trusses.
Yeah, yeah. I think the problem kasi, Bong, right now is because, I mean, we have a total lag ban now. The policy of the government is we don't have any trees anymore here. So even the structural designers, the engineers, my generations during the past 20 to 30 years ago, you still can see structural engineers can do design for timber. But now the young generation, you can hardly see anyone who can do a timber design, because we ran out of trees, we ran out of wood. So, but if you look at the in the developed countries such as Europe and US, they're starting to go back in using the timber. But naman, no, they have a program in doing the logging. No, they have a system on, they plant and then they can only cut down trees, but they have the plant also. So they have a sustainable way of doing the logging. So for them, it's very sustainable. And unlike before, right now the timber becomes very premium. If you have a timber structure, it becomes very premium. So you don't need to clad it, you don't need to beautify it. The raw the timber is, the better, the more aesthetic it will look like. I think that's the essence. That's why it becomes very viable.
It's more warm to be
It's more
inside the
warm, it's
timber.
warmer, it's warmer, and it looks beautiful.
DC. Yeah, I'd like to shift gear a little bit and on the side of being a good CEO. You've started Megawide with your classmate in LaSalle, and then you've grown it to a level where it is today, and now you're into solar and you're setting your eyes to become number one. Where can you attribute that success? Is it you and your partner? Is it the people? Is it give the audience, the next generation CEO, some tips?
Okay. Well, of course, first, no, you have to develop the attitude, right? The mindset, the right mindset, because um even when I started um mega wide, no, Bong, the drive that I have, the tenacity, you need to have that um, mindset and behavior, because with the right behavior, you will always, I have a lot of mistakes, no, so in the end, with all the mistakes, it will transform to learnings, eh? So all this innovation is a function of trial and errors, right? So if you don't have the tenacity, you will not have the energy or the courage to stand up after several failures. So for us, for me, that's the first step. Obviously, is the people around you, right? You build your organization, you build your partners in terms of vendors, suppliers. Now, using that kind with our values, where we invest in new, we like to explore new things. That's why I think we have a different way of doing business. We are not so profit oriented, from at a personal level, Bong, and also organizationally. I think that's one of the culture I was able to impart to the organization. We're more we're more conscious in delivering product, like, we want to make sure it's sustainable. We want to make sure it's inclusive. We want to make sure it's first world the quality, because,
Mhm.
meaning, I said, I have built so many buildings. I mean, I don't need so much money, right? I mean, um to be honest, I'm trying, modesty aside, Bong, I just want to make sure we have, I mean, even to all our people, that I'm saying that if building a crappy building or crappy structures and building a nice one is the same effort, so why build a crappy one? So that's why we have this kind of value. So I can attribute this to the mindset, or to the behavior, to the attitude, and also to the people in the organization, because ultimately it's really, I mean, it's the organization or the people who really build the company, right? It's not only myself. I mean, I can give the direction, but ultimately you need the people to work with you and believe in your goals and dreams.
Well, very well said. We have a lot of millennials and Gen Z in the audience, and sometimes they only see your success and they don't see your failures.
Yeah,
So it's very
no, that's true,
important.
Bong.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
very
that's true, Bong.
important that there is no shortcut in life. There is no shortcut in success. I think that's what you're saying, that you have to keep on trying, and failure makes you a better person and better and a better company, and you have to be with a good company of people that you trust as well.
Yes.
Very good. So we have a question again from Gian. Sir, if you have a message to yourself, what would it be?
Message to myself.
I think it's asking, okay, with all this talk about people, with all this talk about planet, with all this talk about profitability, you're already there. And what else, I think, can you do and contribute, as a CEO and as a successful businessman? What legacy would you want to leave,
Oh,
to your
yeah.
company and to your country, Philippines?
Yeah, uh if you look at our my second slides, no, the first slides I presented, the first few slides, if you look at our vision, Bong, no, first world Philippines, you can already see, no, and you can already sense it, that we in Megawide, I myself together with the team, we came up with that vision, is because we said that, um, so we keep on, we built so many infrastructure, we built many facilities, buildings. So what we want to impart to the Philippines is to build first world facilities and construction, or us or buildings. So this is what we want to impart, and this is what I always say to our organization, especially to the young employees, that because building a good ones and the bad ones will take the same effort. So that's what we want to impart. And we want also to develop local capabilities, Gian, in terms of, we know that Philippines, we we have a lot of we need a lot of infrastructure that we don't have. We don't have the capability in building rails. We don't have before capabilities of building airports. So that's what we want to develop and impart to the Philippines, no, to have a local entity who have the capability to build that infrastructure, because ultimately it's the Filipino engineers who will learn. It's the Filipino engineers who will execute, and it's the Filipino workers. And where do this work, this, if the more we do this, the more we encourage students or young ones to take engineering courses and take and do this building of infrastructure working with us. I think if you look at the success of other countries, Gian, even Japan, how they did it, there was a push in the government to push the local, the private sector to learn and develop their capabilities. You can see that from the history of 1970s, 1960s, 70s, how Japanese built their who they are right now. They took a lot, they got a lot of their know-how, technology from US, from Europe, and this is what China is doing now. I hope the Philippines will also be doing this. That's why I'm encouraging also the other new players, young players, new players, to come out and be an entrepreneur and explore this and help develop, build our nations. Because I think, Bong, up to now, we still have very few players in the Philippines. We have 100 million Filipinos, but very few, I would say, industry leaders who can build or develop infrastructure, first world, that can give opportunities, jobs, careers to the Filipino people.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, I have another question for you, Mr. Saavedra. In the last 2 years, we all suffered a hit by this pandemic, and I'm sure you're in the construction business. You were hit as well. I don't know at what level is the impact of the pandemic to your company. But what have you learned in the last 2 years that allowed you to reshape the strategy of Megawide and Citicore moving forward into the future? And what were the challenges? And as a result of these challenges, what made you have to rethink of something different, and you have to pivot, right? And can you share with
Mm.
us what are those thoughts during the pandemic and how this will shape your direction moving forward into the future?
Yeah. Number one, Bong, is um, like in our case, Bong, no. So in construction, for example, we shifted right away. We are fast enough to shift to different sector. What does that mean? We know that shopping malls, commercials are affected.
Mm-hmm.
So we have couple of projects, like in commercial shopping malls, buildings, that client needed to stop the project and shelve it. So we shifted our focus to infrastructure, because that's what it that when that's the market that is not so affected, no, by the pandemic. Now, if you look at airport was one of the epicenter of the hit, no, of the pandemic. Now, what did we do? We focus our renewable energy, because you can see that the shift of the government also, they shifted to more renewable energy, and we've found out that during the pandemic, the power business is not so affected. The operation remains the same. So basically, it's an essential, and the operations, because the it's not it's not totally stopped, unlike in construction, where during the major lockdown, where there was really no activities going on. But for power, the you can still deliver or supply the energy, the power, to every household. So I think you just have to be agile enough, and you need to focus where the market is, because no matter what you do, no matter what song and dance I'll do in the airport, I think if there's no traffic, I cannot get any
Yeah,
business
you
at
cannot
all,
change
right?
it.
You cannot change it. But so we just need to focus on where the business is, where the market is. That's one. Number two, Bong, this is what I realized. The pandemic, I think I'm more effective. Why? I close more deals during the pandemic. Why?
That's
Because I
very
don't need
good.
to travel. I don't need to travel. I can stay in my office, close 1 billion, 10 billion, 20 billion worth of project, and I stayed in the office. I could not do this without the during the normal scenario. I need to travel to Makati. I need to go to my client. I need to attend this. I need to do speaking engagement. All of this, I mean, will eat like 4 hours, 5 hours a day. So can you imagine that? Instead of 5 hours, I'll just do 30 minutes to 1 hour. So I think I was able to capitalize on this. That's why
So there was a productivity increase by not doing all this traveling.
yes, very much increase. So I think these two reasons that I think that I think we should be focusing. Just focus on the market and capitalize on the pandemic in terms of doing the virtual work, because that's where you will maximize the effect.
During the slowdown, do you have to like let go people, or was there ever a time that you have to do that as a CEO?
Yes, we had, like, during the peak of the lockdown, like the first 3 4 months, we needed to let go because there are projects that really stopped where client decided to stop. So we needed to do that. But what we did, Bong, is that what we talked to those people that we let go, and we said we're gonna pay you double, twice what the law is saying now, to at least we want to be compassionate enough and to show to our people that we care for them. But the impact, of course, we will have more loss, but we took that decision. And I told to those people who stayed that those people who will stay, I said, you'll get your salaries in full, even though we are in lockdown. We'll find our own way on how to recover, because I know we can recover. And true enough, we have the highest order book, higher than pre-pandemic. And then in solar, we are able to roll out so many projects, more than pre-pandemic. So the only thing I told to our employees, to our organization, is just we just have to work harder. This is the time to work harder. Last year was the time of like letting go of some people, because we cannot support, like, if the business or half or portion of the business is stopped, right? But those people who stayed, what I just told them is we just have to work harder, because during the bad times I make sure you get your salary in full, even though we are totally locked down. So now this is the time to recover, and I think it pays off, because these people know that the company is really serious in taking care of them.
Very good. Well, we're running out of time, Mr. Edgar Saavedra, and thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and for sharing some tips to our young CEOs. I hope that they will emulate your success and they will inherit the kind of discipline and you have inspired them in this talk. Thank you very much to all the attendees. That concludes our breakout session. It's great to hear valuable insights from all of our speakers today who are truly breaking grounds in their respective fields. It is now time to go back to our main stage, and please carefully follow the instructions flashed on the screen to return to the plenary session. Simply click the plenary hall tab found on the left side of your screen, and you will instantly be taken to the plenary sessions. Thank you again, and I wish you all a good health.